Hello, what's going on, System 20? Folks, it's Tuesday. How are you guys doing out there? It's Talk to Me Tips Tuesday. So listen, hey, I got a few minutes to get on and talk to you guys about and give you 3 tips because it's Tuesday and I always give you 3 tips. So I've been noticing, like we had the other day was Mother's Day, and it was like, okay, let's post a selfie. And I noticed no one really posted their selfie. So listen, you have to be happy with yourself with where you're at. That's first and foremost. So you may not have been to where you want to be, but you have to. Here's tip number 1. You have to be happy with where you're at, because that's being happy with yourself. Once you're happy with yourself, then everything else will start to fall into place. So if you're having a slump, which I see some people have been talking about, how do you get past the slump? How do you, when you hit a plateau? You do 3 things. This is what I did, right? You do 3 things. Your 3 things, first of all, you got to acknowledge that you're in a slump, right? 1, you got to acknowledge it. That's the first and foremost thing. You have to acknowledge it. And by acknowledging it, you're accepting it. And when you accept it, then you can move forward. So that's number 1, you got to acknowledge. All right. And then number 2, you have to assess. You got to assess where you're at. So you have to go, what am I doing differently than I was doing before when I was gaining momentum, when I was losing, or, the things, what was going on that was making me successful? Was I 100% on? Was I eating properly? Was I getting my sleep? Was I doing all the steps? Like, you have to ask yourself that's the assess, right? And once you figure that out, sorry, I keep moving. Once you figure that out, then the third thing is you take action. So then you got to take action, and you take action by then changing the things that you identified that what you were doing versus what you're not doing. So you may have to do some things a little differently. Change up your exercise routine or add exercise, right? Maybe, you have to take away something in your diet. Maybe you have to add something in your diet. Maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're getting too much sleep. You follow what I'm saying? You fill in those blanks. So I got 4 fingers up. Your 3 things, right? Your 3 things, your 3 tips. It's 3 A's. We got AAA to kind of help and rescue you. When your car break down, you always get that thing in the mail to get your AAA card, because AAA card can be your lifeline. It can help you if you're on the road. You can get discounts when you go different places. Have your AAA card. So when you have a slump, I want you to pull out your AAA card. How about that? When you get into a slump, pull that AAA card out, so that way it can help you and save you and put air in that flat tire and help you get on your way. And your 3 A's are going to be what? You're going to have to first accept it, right? Accept where you're at. Accept that's you're in a slump. Accept and acknowledge where you are and accept it. Be okay with it, right? Be okay with it, because you have to be okay with it in order for you to move forward. Because if you're in denial, then you can't get to the next steps. So you have to, 1, accept it and acknowledge where you're at. Accept and acknowledge are one and the same, right? Then 2, then you have to do an assessment. You got to do an assessment to say, okay, so what was I doing differently when I was, losing weight, and when I was seeing results, and when I was on target? And then what am I doing now to why I hit this plateau? That's your assessment. And then once you figured out the difference between the 2, because it could be, like I said, you're not doing enough of something or you're doing too much of something. A lot of times it's the first part. You're not doing enough of something, because now you may have gotten complacent. That's a plateau. You reach the level where you're like, oh, okay, I'm good. And then you didn't put any more work into it for whatever reasons, right? So that's your assess. And then once you figure that out, now that's the third one. You just take action. Just take action and just do it. So if that means that you have to now inquire, add more beans to your diet. Okay, do it. If that means you have to get up and meditate every day and you weren't doing it, then guess what? You do it. If that means you have to exercise every day and you weren't doing it, guess what? You got to do? Get up and do it. So the plateau is only going to be the plateau if you allow it to stay as a plateau. So once again, when you get to that top of that mountain and you get that point where it just a pause and a stop and you don't see any momentum any longer, pull that AAA card out, right? Pull that AAA card out, acknowledge it, assess it, and then do action with it. And then that'll get you through that slump, and then it'll get you right back on track. Just like that AAA card, when your battery is dead and you pull that AAA card out for them to come, they come and they give you a jump start. That's what I want you to do whenever you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm not getting any further. So when you see me posting things and showing my success, that's for you, right? That's for you to say, oh, okay, now listen, if Carolyn can do this, then I know I can do it. So let me tap into some of that and let me get back on track, because I can tell you this has been nonstop. Now, have I had some moments of reaching a plateau and reaching areas where nothing was happening? Absolutely. So what are the 3 things that I did? The same things I just told you. I pulled out my AAA card. That's what I did. And that's what I want you guys to do too. So I hope those 3 tips have helped you. Because listen, summer's coming and I want you to be, okay with where you're at, because I know, like I said, Mother's Day was coming. That was a goal that I set for all of us, not just for me, but for all of us. It's called accountability, right? So accept where you're at. So when I requested for everyone to post themselves on Mother's Day, be happy with the person that you are right now, who you are right now, because that's how it starts. Once you can accept, that's the accept. Once you can accept who you are, and once you can accept that this is what it is, then you can move forward. Because if you're, oh, I didn't reach my goal, oh, I gained a few more pounds, oh, I didn't, then you're going to stay that way. You're going to stay that way. But if you accept, you was like, listen, I still look good, right? I'm still okay. It gives you momentum. It gives you drive. You're like, okay, all right. Woof, man, I know what I didn't do for Mother's Day, but you know what? I still look good. I still feel good about myself because I'm still on this journey, because the journey's not over. I just reached the top of the mountain. And when you get to the top of the mountain, what happens? See, let's look at it this way. A plateau is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all. And I'm going to tell you why. A plateau is when you reach the top of something, right? And it's usually, when you're at the top of something and it just stays there for a second, then guess what happens when you get to the top? You can see clearly. It gives you a clear vision. It gives you a vision from where you came, right? And then it gives you the vision to where it's yet for you to go. And that's your point in your moment to reassess and to assess where you're at. So that way you can get your rest, okay, kind of regroup, right? Because I think I talked about in another tips, recess, it's the same thing. I'm just changing the words around, right? To get you to your next. So a plateau is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing whatsoever. So I want everyone to be excited and happy where they're at, no matter where they're at in this journey, because you're going to be the one that's going to get through it. I'm getting through it, and I know you can get through it even in the midst of what we're going through, right? Even in the midst of what we're going through. So I want you, like I said, pull out that AAA card. When you get to that plateau, when you need help, pull that AAA card out. That's your 3 tips for the day. So I don't see any comments, so there's no questions for them. You can always put the questions in the box, and I'll get to it a little later. But thanks for tuning in. This is Carolyn. I'm so excited for everybody in this group. And that's the 3 tips for the day. Just pull your AAA card out, when you reach that plateau and reach that slump, because you need to get a jump start to get back on track. Okay? All right, this is Carolyn. I'll talk to you guys. Take care. Love. All that good stuff. Toodaloo. Bye.